want to talk to you now about a Vilo fix or a double-sided. There's lots of different names for it. It's basically an interfacing. So there's lots of different types of interfacing. You can see that it's got a little bit of a shiny thing or shiny treatment. So this basically gets ironed onto fabric, so it gives a little bit of stiffness. There's lots of different weights. There's lots of different applications for them. And these are all called interfacings as a general term. The one that we need to use for the project that we're doing to be able to glue on any of your patterns or any of your designs so that it stays down while you're trying to stitch, this is an applique process, is a double-sided, it's almost like a double-sided sticky tape. So you've got a shiny or a textured surface on one side and paper on the other. You would iron that onto your felt and then you peel off the paper and then that becomes the double-sided, like that melts with the iron and will glue your patterns or designs in place. So lots of different brands, Heat Bond, Vilo Fix, there's so many different brands. But what essentially you need to do is, instead of trying to cut out your pattern piece in your felt and then you cut your pattern piece in your Vilo Fix or interfacing, the easiest thing to do is cut a piece of felt or whatever material you're using, just enough to cover your pattern piece. All right. Then you're going to cut a piece of the interfacing, even just slightly smaller, because you don't want the glue going onto your ironing board. So even if it's slightly smaller, and you would glue or iron this in place. Now I always use a piece of baking paper, fold that in half and put your whatever you're ironing in between the two, so that if there is any glue that's going to leak out or that it hasn't been cut properly, it'll go onto the baking paper and we can just throw that out. So with your iron, you don't need any steam. It's just straight pressure, not a lot of heat, because we don't want to melt the felt. And you do it both sides. And you can see that that's now stuck onto the felt. The tricky bit now is just trying to peel off the paper without it tearing. And you'll see that you've been left with a rubberized finish to the back of the felt. Now when you iron that onto your denim piece afterwards, that'll glue down. So what you're going to do now is you just pin your pattern in place. Now I forgot to mention, when you're cutting out the interfacing, because it's got the paper backing on it, you would use paper scissors. Once you've actually taken off the paper, you can then now go to fabric scissors. And here you would just cut out your pattern piece, and you're only doing it once rather than cutting it twice. Okay, so now we have our pattern piece that can be ironed onto your denim wherever you want to iron it. Again, using baking paper over the top.